Hi, it's Sue. Thanks for joining me for today's Bible reading. It's the reading for August 28th, and I'm reading Lamentations 1 through 336. So it's a new book today, only 2 readings from this book. And be sure to check the description for the link for the overview of this book, the Bible Project overview. And it's written by Jeremiah. It's the Lamentations of Jeremiah. Verse 1. How the city sits solitary that was full of people. She has become a widow who was great among the nations. She who was a princess among the provinces has become a slave. She weeps bitterly in the night. Her tears are on her cheeks. Among all her lovers, she has no one to comfort her. All her friends have dealt treacherously with her. They have become her enemies. Judah has gone into captivity because of affliction and because of great servitude. She dwells among the nations. She finds no rest. All her persecutors overtook her within the straits. The roads to Zion mourn because no one comes to the solemn assembly. All her gates are desolate. Her priests sigh. Her virgins are afflicted, and she herself is in bitterness. Her adversaries have become the head. Her enemies prosper, for Yahweh has afflicted her for the multitude of her transgressions. Her young children have gone into captivity before the adversary. All majesty has departed from the daughter of Zion. Her princes have become like deer that find no pasture. They have gone without strength before the pursuer. Jerusalem remembers in the days of her affliction and of her miseries all her pleasant things that were from the days of old, when her people fell into the hand of the adversary, and no one helped her. The adversaries saw her, they mocked at her desolations. Jerusalem has grievously sinned, therefore she has become unclean. All who honor her despise her, because they have seen her nakedness. Yes, she sighs and turns backward. Her filthiness was in her skirts. She didn't remember her latter end. Therefore she has come down astoundingly. She has no comforter. See, Yahweh, my affliction, for the enemy has magnified himself. The adversary has spread out his hand on all her pleasant things, for she has seen that the nations have entered into her sanctuary, concerning whom you commanded that they should not enter into your assembly. All her people sigh. They seek bread. They have given their pleasant things for food to refresh their soul. Look, Yahweh, and see, for I have become despised. Is it nothing to you, all you who pass by? Look and see if there is any sorrow like my sorrow, which is brought on me, with which Yahweh has afflicted me in the day of his fierce anger. From on high he has sent fire into my bones, and it prevails against them. He has spread a net for my feet. He has turned me back. He has made me desolate, and I faint all day long. The yoke of my transgression is bound by his hand. They are knit together. They have come up on my neck. He made my strength fail. The Lord has delivered me into their hands, against whom I am not able to stand. The Lord has set at nothing all my mighty men within me. He has called a solemn assembly against me to crush my young men. The Lord has trodden the virgin daughter of Judah as in a winepress. For these things I weep. My eye runs down with water, because the Comforter who should refresh my soul is far from me. My children are desolate, because the enemy has prevailed. Zion spread out her hands. There is no one to comfort her. Yahweh has commanded concerning Jacob that those who are around him should be his adversaries. Jerusalem is among them as an unclean thing. Yahweh is righteous, for I have rebelled against his commandment. Please hear, all you peoples, and see my sorrow. My virgins and my young men have gone into captivity. I called for my lovers, but they deceived me. My priests and my elders gave up the spirit in the city, while they sought food for themselves to refresh their souls. Look, Yahweh, for I am in distress. My heart is troubled. My heart turns over within me, for I have grievously rebelled. Abroad, the sword bereaves. At home, it is like death. They have heard that I sigh. There is no one to comfort me. All my enemies have heard of my trouble. They are glad that you have done it. You will bring the day that you have proclaimed, and they will be like me. Let all their wickedness come before you. Do to them as you have done to me for all my transgressions. For my sighs are many, and my heart is faint. Chapter 2. How has the Lord covered the daughter of Zion with a cloud in his anger? He has cast the beauty of Israel down from heaven to the earth, and hasn't remembered his footstool in the day of his anger. The Lord has swallowed up all the dwellings of Jacob without pity. He has thrown down in his wrath the strongholds of the daughter of Judah. He has brought them down to the ground. He has profaned the kingdom and its princes. He has cut off all the horn of Israel in fierce anger. He has drawn back his right hand from before the enemy. He has burned up Jacob like a flaming fire which devours all around. He has bent his bow like an enemy. He has stood with his right hand as an adversary. He has killed all that were pleasant in the eye. In the tent of the daughter of Zion he has poured out his wrath like fire. The Lord has become as an enemy. He has swallowed up Israel. He has swallowed up all her palaces. He has destroyed his strongholds. He has multiplied mourning and lamentation in the daughter of Judah. He has violently taken away his tabernacle as if it were a garden. He has destroyed his place of assembly. Yahweh has caused solemn assembly and Sabbath to be forgot in Zion. In the indignation of his anger, he has despised the king and priest. The Lord has cast off his altar. He has abhorred his sanctuary. He has given the walls of her palaces into the hand of the enemy. They have made a noise in Yahweh's house, as in the day of a solemn assembly. Yahweh has purposed to destroy the wall of the daughter of Zion. He has stretched out the line. He has not withdrawn his hand from destroying. He has made the rampart and the wall lament. They languish together. Her gates have sunk into the ground. He has destroyed and broken her bars. Her king and her princes are among the nations where the law is not. Yes, her prophets find no vision from Yahweh. The elders of the daughter of Zion sit on the ground. They keep silence. They have cast up dust on their heads. They have clothed themselves in sackcloth. The virgins of Jerusalem hang down their heads to the ground. My eyes fail with tears. My heart is troubled. My liver is poured on the earth because of the destruction of the daughter of my people, because the young children and the infants swoon in the streets of the city. They ask their mothers, "Where is grain and wine?" when they swoon as the wounded in the streets of the city, when their soul is poured out into their mother's bosom. What shall I testify to you? What shall I liken to you, daughter of Jerusalem? What shall I compare you, that I may comfort you, virgin daughter of Zion? For your breach is as big as the sea. Who can heal you? Your prophets have seen false and foolish visions for you. They have not uncovered your iniquity to reverse your captivity, but have seen for you false revelations and causes of banishment. All that passes by clap their hands at you. They hiss and wag their head at the daughters of Jerusalem, saying, "Is this the city that men called the perfection of beauty, the joy of the whole earth?" All your enemies have opened their mouth wide against you. They hiss and gnash their teeth. They say, "We have swallowed her up. Certainly this is the day that we looked for. We have found it. We have seen it." Yahweh has done that which he planned. He has fulfilled his word that he commanded in the days of old. He has thrown down and not pitied. He has caused the enemy to rejoice over you. He has exalted the horn of your adversaries. Their heart cried to the Lord, "O wall of the daughter of Zion, let tears run down like a river day and night." Give yourself no relief. Don't let your eyes rest. Arise, cry out in the night at the beginning of the watches. Pour out your heart like water before the face of the Lord. Lift up your hands toward him for the life of your young children, who faint for hunger at the head of every street. Look, Yahweh, and see to whom you have done thus. Should the women eat their offspring, the children that they held and bounced on their knees? Should the priest and the prophet be killed in the sanctuary of the Lord? The youth and the old men, the youth and the old man lie on the ground in the streets. My virgins and my young men have fallen by the sword. You have killed them in the day of your anger. You have slaughtered and not pitied. You have called, as in the day of a solemn assembly, my terrors on every side. There was no one that escaped or remained in the day of Yahweh's anger. My enemy has consumed those whom I have cared for and brought up. Chapter 3. I am the man who has seen affliction by the rod of his wrath. He has led me and caused me to walk in darkness and not in light. Surely he turns his hand against me again and again all day long. He has made my flesh and my skin old. He has broken my bones. He has built against me and surrounded me with bitterness and hardship. He has made me dwell in dark places, as those who have been long dead. He has walled me about so that I can't go out. He has made my chain heavy. Yes, when I cry and call for help, he shuts out my prayer. He has walled up my ways with cut stone. He has made my paths crooked. This is all part of the curse. I think when he talked about the Lord fulfilling his words of old, he was probably referring to the blessing and the curse in Deuteronomy. He's fulfilling what he said. If they would turn away from him, these things would come on them. Because, like right here, it says he's made my paths crooked. Well, in the blessing, the paths are made straight before us. Verse 10. He is to me as a bear lying in wait, as a lion in secret places. He has turned away my ways and pulled me in pieces. He has made me desolate. He has bent his bow and set me as a mark for the arrow. He has caused the shafts of his quiver to enter into my kidneys. I have become a derision to all my people, and their song all day long. He has filled me with bitterness. He has stuffed me with wormwood. He has also broken my teeth with gravel. He has covered me with ashes. You have removed my soul far away from peace. I forgot prosperity. So prosperity is part of the blessing. See there? It would be a good study to look at every scripture that talks about prosperity in the Bible and get a good, solid understanding of that as part of the blessing. Verse 18, I said, my strength has perished along with my expectation from Yahweh. Remember my affliction and my misery, the wormwood and the bitterness. My soul still remembers them and is bowed down within me. This I recall to my mind, therefore I have hope. It is because of Yahweh's loving kindness that we are not consumed. That's right. There's the loving kindness again. And because his compassion doesn't fail. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness. Yahweh is my portion, says my soul. Therefore I hope in him. I'm going to back up and read that part again. This I recall to my mind, therefore I have hope. It is because of Yahweh's loving kindness that we are not consumed, because his compassion doesn't fail. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness. Yahweh is my portion, says my soul. Therefore I will hope in him. Yahweh is good to those who wait for him, to the soul who seeks him. It is good that a man should hope and quietly wait for the salvation of Yahweh. It is good that a man, it is good for a man that he bear the yoke in his youth. Let him sit alone and keep silence, because he has laid it on him. Let him put his mouth in the dust, if it is so that there may be hope. Let him give his cheek to him who strikes him. Let him be filled full of reproach. For the Lord will not cast off forever. For though he causes grief, yet he will have compassion, according to the multitude of his loving kindnesses. For he does not afflict willingly, nor grieve the children of men, to crush underfoot all the prisoners of the earth, to turn away the right of a man before the face of the Most High, to subvert a man in his cause. The Lord doesn't approve. That's the end of today's reading. Thank you for joining me. Shalom, shalom.